You've definitely heard the name Jeff Bezos. It's pretty much synonymous with Amazon. But his story, it's way more than just a business success story. It's about how he completely rewired the way we all live and shop. He's really the architect of our modern world of consumption. And that's what this is all about. It really boils down to this one huge question. How in the world did a simple online bookstore, started in a garage of all places, grow up to swallow entire industries whole? Well, to figure that out, we can't start with the company. We've got to start with the mind that built it. Yeah, before there was an Amazon, there was just Jeff, a guy with an incredibly analytical brain and a vision that was always focused on the long game. And that's what set the stage for one of the most powerful companies in, well, human history. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? He didn't just build a store. He built the whole system, the entire architecture for how we buy things now. It just goes to show you the massive scale of his ambition, right from the very start. I mean, look at this journey. It's just a rocket ship of a career. He's a brilliant Princeton grad, and boom, he's the youngest vice president at a big deal Wall Street firm. But then, 1994 hits, and he makes a call that changes absolutely everything. He just walks away from a safe, lucrative career to chase this wild idea in a garage, an idea that would eventually take him all the way to space. So you gotta ask yourself, what could possibly convince a rising star on Wall Street to risk everything on this unproven thing called the internet? It wasn't just a gut feeling. Nope. It was one single, absolutely staggering piece of data. This. This is the number. In 1994, Jeff Bezos came across a stat that said the World Wide Web was growing at 2,300% per year. To his analytical mind, that wasn't just growth. That was a tidal wave of opportunity that he knew he just had to ride. But to actually make that leap, he needed a special mental tool that he basically invented for himself. And here it is, the regret minimization framework. It's actually a brilliantly simple concept. He imagined himself at 80 years old, looking back at his life. He asked, would I regret leaving my safe, high-paying job? Yeah, maybe a little. But then he asked, would I regret not even trying to be part of this internet revolution? And the answer to that was a huge, undeniable, absolute yes. And that was it. The fear of doing nothing became so much bigger than the fear of failing. That's the calculation that gave him the guts to pack everything up, drive across the country to Seattle, and start what he just called an online bookstore. Okay, so from that garage, Bezos had one crystal clear, super aggressive strategy. It wasn't about making a profit, not at first. It was all about one thing and one thing only: scale. You know, in his very first letter to shareholders, he laid it all out. He basically said, it's all about the long term. He told investors flat out that he was going to sacrifice any short-term profits for total market dominance. Now, think about it. At a time when all these other dot-com startups were just chasing quick cash, this was a radical idea. And it's exactly why Amazon made it. When that dot-com bubble burst, Amazon, which was built for the long haul, was one of the few left standing. Getting big fast, that's one thing, but how do you keep all those customers coming back? Bezos knew that to really, truly dominate, he had to build an ecosystem, something so convenient, so essential, that you couldn't imagine your life without it. And this is where the genius of Amazon Prime comes in. I mean, the psychology behind it is just brilliant. You pay that annual fee, right? So now you feel like you have to use it to get your money's worth. And that little feeling turns casual shoppers into loyal, completely locked-in customers. It's a perfect self-perpetuating cycle. But here's the real secret weapon. While we all see the Amazon boxes on our doorsteps, the real moneymaker is something most of us never even see: Amazon Web Services, or AWS. It was originally just built to handle Amazon's own insane scale, but then Bezos had the idea to start renting out that computing power. Today, AWS is literally the backbone of the internet. It powers everything from Netflix to the CIA. And that is the profit engine that funds all of Amazon's other global ambition. Of course, you don't build an empire this huge without kicking up a lot of dust. The legacy of Jeff Bezos is, let's be honest, really complex. It's filled with incredible, celebrated innovation and some really sharp criticism. On the inside, Bezos built this unique culture that's often praised. There's the day one mentality to keep everyone on their toes and avoid getting lazy, his legendary obsession with the customer, the idea of two pizza teams, keeping groups small and agile.
and getting rid of PowerPoint for these intense 6-page written memos. These are all hallmarks of his, really innovative leadership.
But then there's the other side of that coin. We've all heard the stories about the intense pressure and tough conditions in the fulfillment centers. There's the Amazon effect, which is often blamed for wiping out countless local businesses. And his own immense personal wealth, plus all the criticism about the company's tax strategies, has really made Amazon a poster child for corporate power and wealth inequality.
So, after pretty much conquering commerce on Earth, Bezos has now turned his gaze back to a childhood dream, a dream he had long before Amazon ever existed: space. Through his company Blue Origin, Bezos is deep in the new space race, but his vision is actually pretty different from his rivals. While someone like Elon Musk is focused on getting us to Mars, Bezos wants to save Earth by moving all the heavy polluting industries off planet. His vision is to turn our world into a protected zone, just for nature and for us to live in. So Jeff Bezos basically built the railway tracks that the modern world runs on. But when you look at the whole picture, from that regret minimization framework, to all the controversy, to his incredible ambition in the stars, you're left with this one big question. Is he the ultimate innovator, or is he a symbol of something gone wrong? The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. And his real, final legacy, well, that's something only time is going to tell.